except the first game, every game was so close, and every team could won it, and we just find a way to win the game. Especially we were down 15, and to come back and win the game. It was just probably happiness.
Me and AD were just talking in the locker room for a little bit. I think we came to the consensus that, if not one of the best, probably the best team that we've played since we've been together for our 4 years. They're just well orchestrated, well put together. They have scoring, they have shooting, they have playmaking, they have smarts, they have length, they have depth.
JJ, I hate to point fingers, but who's the biggest culprit of the Lakers' demise?
The biggest culprit of the Lakers' demise is the Denver Nuggets. They are and they were the better basketball team. And you can maybe point a finger at Anthony Davis's Game 4 shooting performance. Anthony Davis averaged 27 and 14 in this series on 49% shooting. LeBron James, at 38 years old, playing over 40 minutes a game, averaged essentially a 27-point triple-double on 51% shooting. Austin Reeves had a great series. Roy Hachimura had another series with a bunch of big moments. This, to me, is about the Denver Nuggets. And if you look at this series as a whole, over a 4-game series, the point differential was 24. That's tied for the 4th lowest in a 4-game sweep in a 7-game series in NBA history. This was an extremely competitive series, and when it comes down to it, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray won this series for the Denver Nuggets. Jokic going into the finals, third player ever to average a triple-double going into the finals. Jamal Murray, the first player ever to average 35 and 5 on 50, 40, 90 shooting in a conference finals. These guys, the Lakers didn't lose the series. The Denver Nuggets won the series. And before the series, I talked about the X factor for me, and that was Aaron Gordon. He came up huge in Game 4, 22, 6, and 5. And I want to show you the 2 key defensive plays at the end of the game, because I thought this was just incredible defensive execution from Aaron Gordon and the Denver Nuggets. Let's roll this tape right now. So if you look at LeBron James right here, I want you to look at Austin Reeves too. They're going to screen down for LeBron. This is a play with 3+ seconds on the clock that every team runs in the NBA. This is just going to be a fake dribble handoff to Austin Reeves. Now watch Aaron Gordon here, reads it perfectly, stays with LeBron, gets the beautiful contest, tough shot. Denver retains the basketball. Now, on the next play, this is the guy I want you to watch, Jamal Murray. Like they did time and time again, they're going to use Jamal Murray's man to screen for LeBron. Aaron Gordon does a good job fighting over. Now watch Murray here. All eyes right now on the basketball. Gets a nice dig here, forcing the tough shot, and Aaron Gordon gets the block, and the Lakers' season is over. Again, those were not mistakes made by the Denver Nuggets that the Lakers didn't take advantage of. Those were excellent defensive plays at the end of the game. And the last thing I want to say about why I think the Nuggets won this series. Think about this. Think about 4 shots in this series. 3 one-legged somber shuffles at the end of quarters or shot clocks from Nikola Jokic, and another one from Jamal Murray. 4 shots from Game 1, Game 4. This could easily have been a 2-2 series, and we're going into Game 5 in Denver. That's how close and how good this series was.
Stephen A.
First of all, JJ, the question was the biggest culprit for the Lakers' demise. Nobody's trying to take anything away from the Denver Nuggets. They were the better team. They've got a superstar in Jokic, who, by the way, even though he's a reigning two-time, not reigning, but the 2-time league MVP, the fact is that he had center stage and he took absolute advantage of it. He was absolutely exceptional, averaging the triple-double. Jamal Murray reminded everybody of not that he likes Bubble Murray, because we know he does not, but nevertheless, the last time they were in a conference finals was when Jamal Murray was healthy, a few years ago. We understand what this man brings to the table, and it was good to see him. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope got off a little bit. Aaron Gordon had a good game. We get all of that. But still, the operative word is culprit. when we're talking about the Lakers. And when you're talking about elite competition, which you know all about, JJ, there are winners and losers. And even though you are accurate in pointing out what you pointed out, and there's nothing to dispute there in terms of what you broke down, ultimately the bottom line is you got to get the job done. And if you don't get the job done, you end up being at home, which is exactly what the Lakers are this morning. So let us dissect. While you're talking about the greatness of Denver Nuggets squad, are we just going to ignore the fact that Anthony Davis had 4 points in the first half? Now, I know he was elite defensively. I know that he was big-time defensively throughout the series and throughout these playoffs. And certainly the overall 26 or 27 and 14 that he averaged on 49% shooting is nothing to sneeze at. But in the same breath, when LeBron James literally tells the team, I'm going to put it on my shoulders, follow my lead, and he goes out there and he gives you what he gives you, there's something to be said for him being able at age 38, approaching 39 years of age, in his 20th season in the NBA, that you know what, maybe I'm going to get a little bit tired. Maybe I'm not going to have but so much to give in that second half. Maybe at that particular moment in time, I'm going to need you to step up and say, I got it from here, big bro. I appreciate what you did. It's my turn now because I know that you're really spent. We would have liked to have seen more of that. I don't think we saw that. Don't get me started with D'Angelo Russell. I mean, you talk about a brother that cost himself some money. I mean, good luck. Good luck. 4 points. I mean, this dude was anemic. 32% shooter. What is it? 13% shooter from three-point range. Anemic, no threat whatsoever. Just awful. To the point where he got to a point where he was passing up shots. D'Angelo Russell wasn't even looking at the rim half the time because he was petrified of shooting the damn ball because he knew nothing was going in. He couldn't hit the backside of the ocean if he was standing in it. It was that damn bad. And he probably cost himself some money in the process because of how god-awful he was.
For a long time.
It's not official. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I looked at him. I'm not saying they called him that. Coming into this series, I was looking at D'Angelo Russell based on how he had looked previously. I was looking at him as a third offensive option. I'm not saying that was so. I'm saying that's how I was looking at him. But I certainly didn't expect him to look this awful. And so I look at that, and I say if those things were better, guess what? Austin Reeves might have got off even more if he hadn't had to do so much because D'Angelo Russell wasn't doing anything. And certainly I'm not questioning anything defensively about Anthony Davis because he was as good as you could expect him to be, and he was very formidable. But offensively, even though the numbers are there are times that you looked for him to step up and be a bit more aggressive and productive, and he was not. And those are the kind of things I think the Lakers are going to be thinking about and have to embrace this offseason.
I actually think that there's good feelings here. The LeBron comments after the game caused me a little bit of a pause, but Denver was brilliant. Nikola Jokic is surpassing Wilt Chamberlain. When you surpass Wilt Chamberlain in something, it is a moment to take a pause. He has already passed him in triple-doubles in one postseason. He's got another series to go. The shot that he hit that basically was the crux point of this game, moving to his left, doing a half Larry Bird, half Dirk Nowitzki play under incredible pressure. That's an iconic moment. And Jamal Murray had 3 quarters in this series where he scored 53 points. That will stick with him for the rest of his life that he was able to do that. And on the other end, the Lakers, yes, I'm sure the Lakers fans are very disappointed today. LeBron was obviously very disappointed last night. But they are in a very good position considering where they were a few months ago. They have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and they're potentially going to have $30 million in salary cap room this summer, plus their first-round draft pick in this draft, plus a future first-round draft pick. They can use that space to sign a player. They can use that space to acquire a player. They can look for trades. They can look for free agents. They've got to make sure LeBron is still in the fold, and that is definitely a wrinkle that we're going to take a look at here. But I actually think, all things considered, the Lakers can go up holding their head high. Yeah, they didn't win. Well, you don't win every year. It's hard. It's really hard. And if you're going to lose to a team that's brilliant. Don't go out like some of the other teams we've seen in this postseason who got out because they stumbled all over themselves. The Lakers absolutely were terrific in going down in this series. I'm not sure I've seen a more impressive performance in a sweep ever. And I know that there's no room for nuance, that it's all, oh my God, you got swept, so you know, who's the culprit? I don't think there's any bad guys here. The one thing I would say about the Lakers is when it mattered at the very, very end in the elimination game, the guys that they brought in the trades, only one of them was even involved at all, and that was Rui Hachimura, promoted to the starting lineup, 42 minutes. As you mentioned, Stephen A., Russell was a no-show. Jared Vanderbilt did not get off the bench. Malik Beasley hasn't played in weeks. Tristan Thompson, who was sitting next to me on the NBA Today set like 6 weeks ago, ended up getting 10 minutes in this game as opposed to those guys who got traded. And so one of the things that the Lakers can look for going forward here is maybe don't run it back. Don't maybe just rest on your laurels. Try to improve this roster, and they have the mechanisms to do it.
Well, thank you, dear Abby, a.k.a. Brian Windhorst. I deeply appreciate your soliloquy right there. You clearly the influence of J.J. Redick and yourself has touched you in profound ways. Y'all kill me with this stuff. Y'all absolutely kill me. No one is saying, for the record, because I know, J.J., because you talk a lot, J.J., because you're the media star now, okay? Both of you, actually.
I talk a lot.
That's right. I mean, I'm relatively quiet. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is this. The point that I'm trying to make the point that I'm trying to make to y'all is this. Look, no one is saying the Lakers season was a failure. It was not. They went to the Western Conference Finals, and to be hovering around the 13th seed for most of the season, to get to the point where they finished the way that they finished, and they went to the conference finals, we know that the season was not a failure. Props to Jeannie Buss. Rob Pelinka, to me, is the MVP of the team because of the moves that he made to help get them to this point because of the acquisitions. We understand that. But the game was last night. The series is over. We're dissecting what happened. There was a winner and there was a loser. Stop with all of this. Don't get caught up in the trolls and all of this other stuff. Oh, we want to make sure we don't react to what they say because people out there saying the season's a failure. Damn them. The hell with them. They're trolls for a reason. I'm simply saying, when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, you can literally deduce that the season was a success, but you can point to this series and say, excuse me, you got one of the greatest players in the world and one of the greatest players in the history of the game. You got a guy in Anthony Davis as a supplementary part, a sidekick per se, who, when healthy and playing at his level, is a top 10 player in the game of basketball. If you're going to legitimately compete for a championship, you have to dissect what you have and you don't have. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a crime. Let's not treat it that way.
There's so much to unpack. I'm so glad.
Okay.
I'm so
Would
glad
you like
this
to
show
move
was
on?
2 hours. No, we can move on, but I'm so glad this show was 2
Unbelievable.
hours.
You really are, JJ. You're unbelievable.
You are
man.
unbelievable.
You're unbelievable. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Say what you got to say, man.
No.
I'm gonna go ahead.
No, because
I'm here for it.
I want to save it. I want to save it for another question that we have later in the show. Because you're just being ridiculous
Guess
right
what?
now, Stephen A. That's the truth. You're
Guess
being
what?
ridiculous.
You got an hour.
You didn't listen to anything I
45.
said. You didn't listen to anything I said. You didn't listen to anything Wendy said. All you want to do is talk about the Lakers, and that's fine. And we'll get to this later in the show. Believe
I
me,
didn't
and it's
mention
going to be
anything
fun.
about Denver.
It's going to be
So
fun.
I mentioned nothing about Denver. I said
It's gonna be
nothing about
fun.
Jokic and
Stephen
Murray
A.
and Gordon and Kentavious Caldwell. I said nothing about them. That's it. You're not listening to me, JJ.
Okay, no
Shame
one's
on
listening
you.
to me.
Shame on
Nobody's listening to me as the host of the show. I'm sitting right next to you. That's actually happening. And you've made JJ upset.
By the way,
We're
that
only
is a
15 minutes in.
lovely sport coat that you have on.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's a
it.
good
It's
look.
Are you
really
trying to be
nice. I
to
wish
me
I could
after
say
you
the
ignored
same
me?
about your shirt. Was there a cleaner's problem again, or is your collar just hanging for no
Oh
reason?
my gosh.
JJ, is there a cleaners issue again with the dry cleaners? Is there an
No, it's
issue?
because I'm not wearing a tie, Stephen A. And I'm not gonna do the no tie look. But if you want for the rest of the show, if that makes you feel better, I will wear it like this.
The
That's
collar
totally
can
fine.
stand up without the shirt. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.